Hey, Shalom Isha. I want to start off souls by giving all praise to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushua, Bashem, Kwadash, double honors to the apostles of GMS, and honors to you brothers doing the work in truth, war, sincerity. This is a quick one, inspired from, got a couple inspired from films, but this is a quick one inspired from Doctor Strange, right? And it's the first one, about, I don't know how many there are. I'm not a big Marvel Universe guy. I mean, I watch the films, but I can't tell you this and that about them. Well, basically, there was a statement that, but not a statement, but it was more the very early stages of Doctor Strange when he's still a doctor, and then he goes to, that place where, he starts seeing some of the spooky stuff, right? And when he was basically being told, hey, these things, there are things beyond your realm. This other guy started walking because of XYZ, basically speaking about the spiritual side of things, right? Doctor Strange was doing basically what every Edomite does, right? And really anyone outside of this truth, right, which is scoff, right? He was scoffing, man, right? Because he has this carnal, isn't that character had this carnal perception into things. There has to be a, some scientists before must have said it, or all of that bullshit, right? But then he basically had to be shown, what do you call it? Look, there are things beyond your understanding, and then he believed, right? And you got some people that you might tell them, a the Lord is a so-called black man, they eat it. You might tell them that they're an Israelite, they eat it. But then you might mention the chariots of Israel, and then they're like, nah, I don't know about all that. And they basically, call you a bug out or whatever, right? Some of them will be bugged out by it till the kingdom, they get destroyed and then they come back in a reincarnation. Or some will see the chariots and then they'll believe, right? Some are going to believe without seeing, and some are going to believe by seeing, and some are just never going to believe, right? But this is on it was, different points you can take, from the fact that the guy didn't believe and then he ended up believing. But then also it's the fact that Esau's way of thinking is lauded in this world, right? It's praised. You got to think like how Esau thinks. But Esau is a carnal man, right? And the scripture says that to be carnally minded, right, is enmity with the Most High. This is First Corinthians 2:12. Now we have received not the spirit of the world, right? Because the spirit of the world is wickedness. Read Mark 2:10, right? It says, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, for it is polluted, right? And it shall utterly destroy you." Right. So the spirit of this world is the spirit of pollution. It's nasty. You read Sirach, the 10th chapter. It speaks about how as the rule of the city is, so are the people, right? And Esau's are referred to as a profane person outside the temple, right? Who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright, right? That's the rule of this city. He's a freak. He's a pedophile. He's a pedophile, however you want to pronounce it, right? He's a homosexual, and that is the energy that he's pushed out into the world, right? So we are not supposed to have the spirit of the world on us, right? Yes, it's a process. You ain't gonna, what do you call it, be wicked yesterday and then today you're the top Israelite. No, scriptures talk about inward man is renewed day by day, so you become a better and better as days and times go by, right? It says, but the spirit, it says, now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the spirit which is of the Most High, right? That we might know the things that are freely given to us of the Most High, right? Because ultimately the Lord puts the inspiration into man, right? And, opens the eyes of man, and that man's like, oh, he has the understanding, has a revelation, and he teaches another man. Right, scriptures say, freely you have received, freely give. Right, this was given to us freely of the Most High, right? But notice how it says, you might know the things that are given, that are freely given to us, because there's some things that we ain't supposed to know, right? So there's some things that are of the realm of the Most High, right? My ways are not your ways, my thoughts are not your thoughts, right? And there is some revelation that the Lord, will give out when it's needful. For instance, being able to live forever. Right, that was maybe what have lasted, I don't even remember, 5-7 years maybe, I forget. right? Where there was a time when it was, you live for 1,000 years and you come back, but then, do the spirit, right? The spirit revealed, not actually, when it says eternal life, it means eternal life, right? And notice how when it was broken down, right? Laws will we be those men, those men that it just clicked. It was like, yeah, of course, and it was there, and what was the point? Everything had to be done in decency and in order, right? And the Lord just gave it to you, right? And the Lord opened your mind, and that's how these things work, right? It says which things also we speak, right? So for instance, you ain't supposed to just get this truth and hide it under a bushel, right? You get this truth, you understand, you grow, and then at some point, you now are the teacher, right? It says, not in the words which man's wisdom teacheth, but which the Holy Ghost teacheth, comparing spiritual things with spiritual. But the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of the Most High. Well, like I said, when you're watching, Doctor Strange in his early phase, in his early days, rather in the first couple of scenes when he's speaking to to the bald head lady, right? Which obviously, I'm not saying that spiritual, because they were basically talking about basically doing witchcraft, right? That's not the point that I'm trying to touch on. I'm just trying to touch on the point that there are things that are beyond this man's scientific understanding, right? And people just scoff at those things, right? The fact that the chariots are, can just change direction, right? They might be going, super fast and just change direction like no one. That's beyond the realms of physics, man, right? Being able to just go from one, literally traveling several hundred and just come back. Right, if Esau's fighter jets tried to do that, they'd break and the pilot in there will die. The G forces, will be crazy, man. That's why we got to be changed, right? It says, so but the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of the Most High. Yeah, you might even tell Jake something simple like, look, the one whom the world calls Jesus Christ, he looks like you, right? And he'll scoff at you. Yeah, but back in them days, when you look at it historically, they were pseudo intellectuals, right? When you look at it, historically, right? You had Araby people looking in, and then you ask them, what does Arab mean? Why? Because he's just regurgitating the bullshit that he's been told in this world, right? It says, for they are foolishness unto him, right? Yeah, because they don't want to hear it, right? What did one of them niggas say? You mean to tell me that a black man is gonna crack them clouds? You're damn right. That's what we're telling you, right? Because that's what was freely given to our apostles and their teachers before them, right? It says, for they are foolishness unto him, neither can he know them because they are spiritually discerned, right? Which is why, you can't get caught up about a guy that can't get it because his eyes just ain't open. So like you read Isaiah 6 and 9, it speaks about eyes but not to see and ears but not to hear, right? Basically, they just ain't meant to get this truth. Right, it says, but he that is spiritual judgeth all things, yet he himself is judged of no man. Right? So when you become more spiritual, you're able to discern certain things. You're able to see, okay, cool. That's this, that's that. You might look at something like, nah, you might be presented with a bit of information, and then through the spirit, like, nah, this information doesn't really sit right with me. Right? And you might reason on it, you might look into it further, right? And sometimes you just might leave it. Right? People like to say, oh, but you can't judge me. Look, man. Look, man. You ain't read the scriptures, right? Scriptures talking us in 1 Corinthians 6 about how know you not that you shall judge. Ain't for, I believe it's precept here. Let's just jump to it. It's 1 Corinthians 6, and I'll start from the top. Dare any of you having a matter against another go to law before the unjust and not before the saints, right? So basically, you have an issue. It's like, do you go before Caesar? Do you settle amongst yourselves? Right? So do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world? Right? And who are the saints? Right? Psalm 50 and 5. And in fact, is it listed here? No, it's not listed here. Give me a sec. Psalms 50 and 5 and Psalms 148 and 14. Right, it says, gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice, who made a covenant with the Most High, the Israelites. Right, it says here, Psalms 148 and 14, it says, he also exalteth the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel. Right, people near unto him, so are the saints of the children of Israel. Right, so we'll read that again. Do you not know that the Israelites, right, shall judge the world? And if the world shall be judged by you, are you not unworthy to judge the smallest matters? Right, know ye not that we shall judge angels? How much more things that pertain to this life? Right. This is Sirach 125. The parables of knowledge are in the treasures of wisdom, but godliness is an abomination to a sinner. Right? You know, hey, when we tell people certain things of the law, right? They once again going back to the thing about how some things are spiritually discerned. Right? I might tell someone, you know, hey, don't eat pork, but it's just meat. Why can't I eat meat? Right? But we understand there's a spiritual reason why the Lord said don't eat pork. Right? Because it's an unclean animal. There's a reason why it's referred to as unclean, right? But to us, you know, to a sinner, it's like, man, you know, they think scorn, you know, of the laws, right? This is Sirach 13:23. What a rich man speaketh. So once again, bringing it back to the film, right? If you imagine an Edomite, you know, he goes up down the podium, says all his fancy big words and all of that. You know, everyone wants to, wants to hear what he has to say, right? Which is why when, you know, if you change that bald-headed lady from the film, right, to being like a quote professor in a suit, he would have been like, oh, okay. You know, he might have still questioned it, but he would have been a lot more interested in hearing, right? Whereas in, you know, in that scene that I'm referring to, basically he was like, man, this is some old bullshit, right? Which is, let's be real, that's what the majority of the people in the world think of what it is that we teach. Right? They might agree with bits, right? Or they might just flat out disagree with everything, right? It says, when a rich man speaketh, every man holdeth his tongue, and look what he saith. They extol it to the clouds. But if the poor man speaks or us, right, they say, what fellow is this? And if he stumble, they will help to overthrow him. Yeah, because God forbid you have a slip of a tongue, right, when you're, what do you call it, you're speaking to a scoffer, right? Oh, you see it? Right, and then they harp on about that one honest mistake, right? But with a guy like that, that's when you know, look, man, this ain't for you, right? Keep it moving, right? And if you remember, even in that film, she was like, look, man, this guy's a scoffer, man, right? Get him out. I don't want to deal with him, right? I don't want to deal with him. That was what was going on, and more times with scoffers, you know, they come out, you scoff, like you go down the road, right? But then, you know, if the Lord have mercy, because the Lord's hand is not short that he cannot save. If the Lord have mercy, then that same guy might come back and he might be like, look, hey, sorry, I was scoffing, but you know, I repent. I've seen the error of my ways. The Lord has shown me the error of my ways, right? And now I understand. Now I'm down because the Lord can do that, right? And this is Ezekiel 33:33, right? And this is ultimately what it comes down to, because you'll get some people that will believe, and you'll get some people that won't believe, right? And it comes down to this one thing: when did things happen that have been prophesied of before old, right? When those things happen, then there ain't gonna be no discussion. There isn't gonna be any but this, but that. We just all gonna know it's the truth. Right? And this is Ezekiel 33:33. It says, and when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come. Then shall they know that a prophet hath been among them. Right? So when everything has come to pass, then then people will know, look, man, these men were telling the truth. Right? And some people, that's all that they're gonna have, right? You read Isaiah 6:11. You know, Isaiah, I believe it was, he was speaking at that time, basically asked the angel, so how long are they gonna be blind? How long are they gonna be deaf? And the angel was like, look, until the cities be destroyed, right? Then, basically when all hell's broken loose, right, then they're gonna be like, oh shit, this was the truth, right? But by that time, it's too late. So you got to get it while it's hot, right? Now it is high time to awake out of sleep. I'm gonna finish with this. This is John 20:29. Yahushua said unto him, Thomas, because thou hast seen me, thou hast believed. Blessed are they that have not seen and yet have believed, right? Because some people are gonna have to see to believe, but blessed are they that have not seen and yet have believed, right? Because you're gonna, as more and more prophecies come, you're gonna start getting a lot more, what do you call it? A lot more believers. You're gonna start getting a lot more people taking an interest in what is being said, right? But which is why we've got to be grateful that we have this truth now, because we're in this. Hey, really, let me put it like this. This is why you got to give double honors to the apostles, right? Because they were pushing this before, yeah, maybe the chip was just coming out, but now you've actually got people putting chips into themselves, like in mass, right? The things about Iran, right? Russia being a guard unto Iran, and and all of these other different countries, and Turkey. Hey, as a brother in our camp can attest, there was a time Turkey was America's lapdog. Now Russia's basically being a guard unto Turkey, right? After Turkey downed a Russian jet, right? I was thinking, damn, how's this is in Ezekiel 38? How's that gonna play out? But the Lord had it whereby it played out, right? And now, what do you call it? Russia is basically stepping in to that guard position for Turkey, right? It referred to as Gomer in Ezekiel 38th chapter, right? But the apostles, they were teaching this from a long time ago, without having seen, without having all of the, things happening where it's like, oh shit, yeah, okay, cool, I hear that, right? So blessed are they that have not seen and yet have believed, right? So, yeah, as always, Lord's will that was edifying. Till the next time, Shalom.